Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Games and Things. Did you not get the gift you were dreaming of? Did you not get the Red Ryder BB gun? Well, you can go get it for yourself. Actually, they don't have BB guns, but they got everything else at Games and Things. Pool tables, card tables, shuffleboard tables, air hockey tables, foosball tables, bar stools, bar tables, you name it, they got it. Home theater seating, it's the perfect place if you're trying to outfit your man cave. Get to Games and Things, the corner of Kingston Pike and Lovell Road. Scott and Lisa Mellon are good folks. OurGameRoom.com to learn more. Okay, back with Justin Hamilton, Josh Ward, Jimmy Himes. I'm going to run through some numbers here. If you see something that stands out, you're like, oh, this is key, jump in. Jump in, stop us, we'll come back. If not, we'll just roll through some of these and see where we go. Let's take a look at offensive numbers. We're comparing 2022 to 2021 there on the right. So you see, they were a full touchdown better. Second best offense in the SEC last year, number one this year. But to go from 39 points a game to 46, pretty darn impressive. In fact, you look at all those numbers, the pink one is the only one that went backwards. Your rushing numbers weren't as good this year as they had been. Your passing numbers went up a huge amount. Total offense went up 50 yards a game, gave up fewer sacks this year, fewer tackles for loss allowed. I wonder, once you make this quarterback change, however, I got to think some of those numbers are going to shift back the other way, regardless of who it was that was going to take over. It's not a knock on Milton, but Hooker and that thing were cooking last year, and I think some of those numbers will probably trend back a little bit this year. Anything stand out? You were great to begin with, and you improved in darn near every area.
Yeah, I would think that you'll see some shift with the passing and rushing offense. The numbers at the bottom stand out to me, and you want to keep those where they are and even improve if you can. I thought a huge difference for what they're able to do offensively, and that probably correlates with the passing offense, would be sacks allowed. They were at the bottom of the league in 2021, middle of the pack, but that was much better than they had been. And then tackles for loss. When the offense does not move backwards, they were able to move forward very quickly.
Well, especially when Jimmy pointed out at the end of the regular season, sacks are one of the things that absolutely just disrupts this offense. They have a hard time overcoming that. So I wonder about Milton's pocket presence from what we've seen versus Hendon Hooker's.
The number that stands out to me a lot is the passing yards per game. You jumped up by 70, basically. Yeah. That's a lot. And that probably took away a little bit from your rushing totals, but that's a significant jump. Now, I don't know that you're going to have anybody as good as Jalen Hyatt next year at receiver, right? You'll have some good receivers, but I think the passing numbers will go down significantly next year, but I think the rushing total could go up.
All right, let's take a look at offensive conversions. You went backwards just a hair in third down conversions, but fourth down conversions, you went from 48% to converting 66%, and that's not a small number. They were 22 of 33 on fourth down conversions. At that point, it's not Lane Kiffin type stupidity gambling. it's we know we can get this. When you're getting 66%, that's pretty amazing. Red zone scoring, 97.4%, second in the conference. Red zone touchdown, 79.1%, pretty strong.
Yeah, totally. And if you go look at the actual numbers, you dive a little deeper, they actually scored more touchdowns in the red zone than opponents' attempts in the red zone. And when you're doing that, that goes back to the points per game, where if you divide your points per game by 2, you're still scoring more than you allowed. If you double the opponent point production, you're still scoring more than you allow. So to me, it goes hand in hand. But if you're scoring more touchdowns in the red zone than your opponents are even getting into the red zone, you're going to win 11 games.
John, I thought they were better in fourth down because they were better in short yardage situations. We asked Alex Golish in the offseason, how do you improve that? He said, well, you sign Eddie George. Okay, that would help. Yeah. But I thought that they put the quarterback under center a little bit more. I thought they had a better push from the offensive line.
Princeton Fant's role, they were creative with what they did with him.
They sure were. And he scored 4 or 5 rushing touchdowns. So I thought that was a key to their fourth down conversion.
All right, let's run through these next couple, and we'll get to some other long plays. I thought this was fascinating. Plays of 30 yards or more. They went from 38 last year to 53. 40 yards or more, 23 to 36. They had 19 plays of more than 50 yards this year, and I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, I bet they didn't do that under Jeremy Pruitt for 3 years. I tallied it up, they had 18. In 3 seasons, they had 18 plays of 50 or more yards. Last year, they had 19. That is stunning.
Fans are probably getting the shakes just seeing the asterisk. They don't below.
As a defensive coach, I'm about to faint looking at those numbers.
All right, right, let's take a look at the next one. Look, these random numbers. Some of the ones that didn't look too good. Punting, man, you took a step backward this year in punting, and you overcame it. Penalties, we've talked about, you're never going to be good with penalties or penalty yardage. They took a step back in both. They finished 14th in the league in both. Turnover margin, though, terrific. You were plus 11 and only turned the ball over 11 times all season, which also gets to how you win 11 ball games. Joe Milton this year, no interceptions in limited action, but no picks. They need to keep that thing going with no turnovers. Let's take a look moving forward at the defensive side of the ball. Look at this. Scoring defense, you went from 12th in the league to 5th, cut it down a full touchdown. Rushing defense, you went from 8th to 2nd. Now, part of that is because in passing defense, you moved up from 14 to 12, but you gave up 16 more yards. Total defense, you were a little better there too, but the bottom line is, I'm not going to ding them too much on the pass defense because we spent the entire offseason saying, man, the secondary is going to suck. I mean, we did it the last week of the preseason. We went around and everybody picked a position group, and Jimmy, you were the last guy, and you got stuck with the secondary. We knew they were going to be bad. I didn't anticipate them getting a touchdown better on defense this year, better in rush defense, better in total defense.
I didn't either. And part of the pass numbers, look, they weren't very good in the secondary, but Tennessee also had a lead in just about every game. Look at their first quarter scoring, their first half scoring.
Yeah.
So other teams are throwing it a lot more.
Great point.
Still, Tennessee's secondary needs to get better. But to me, I thought the defense was considerably better, and in part, the touchdowns per game. But if you look, in my opinion, they only had 3 games this year where I would say the defense played poorly. Just 3. 10, they either played okay or really good.
Let's take a look at the conversions for opponents. They got better everywhere here. Third down percentage, only gave up 34% compared to 42 last year. Fourth down percentage, they improved that by 12%. Red zone scoring, they gave up 75%, but it was 92 last year. Cut the red zone TD percentage from 72 to 51, Josh, before the season. We talked about a stat that was astounding. Last year on the road in 2021, Tennessee allowed 59% of third down conversions. They gave up 60%, basically, Justin, on third downs on the road. This year, they cut that down to 39%.
Yeah, I mean, in key categories, as you see, they were awful third down conversion. They were awful red zone defense. And they weren't just improved this year. They were near the top.
Top
in the
5 league, yeah.
Yeah, so they got stops when it mattered. So if you were good between the 30s, okay. But once you got inside the 30, inside the 20-yard line trying to score, Tennessee's defense got stops.
All right, 2 more quickies here. The next one is speed versus defense. And here's what it is. These are the 6 on the left total. It's offensive seconds. It's per play, okay? So your fastest offenses in the league. Ole Miss and Tennessee both at 20 points. Against Power 5 teams. I took out the non-Power 5. But those are the 6 fastest offenses. You look on the right, and that's the points per game that defense gave up. And we know that faster the offense, the tougher it is on the defense. Whose defense was the best of those fast offenses? Tennessee's.
Yeah.
25.6. I think that's impressive. And then finally, if you haven't seen the bowl viewership, there you go. Peach Bowl, huge numbers, 22 million, 21 million watched the Fiesta Bowl. The Rose was 3rd, but it was the smallest ever audience for a Rose Bowl. Look, the playoff has killed the bowls. It's just killed them in every way. Players opting out, TV ratings. Sugar got 9 million. Tennessee versus Clemson got 8.6. Then it was the Gator, the Cheez-It Bowl, Alamo, Cotton with their smallest audience ever. Thank goodness you didn't wind up in the Cotton versus Tulane. That would have been a miserable experience. And then the Liberty Bowl. But anyway, Tennessee ranked 5th in bowl viewership there. Not bad. I was expecting Tennessee Clemson maybe to outdraw Alabama Kansas State, but still, you're pretty close. Thoughts on the bowl number viewership? Anything?
Good to have that kind of viewership when you had that kind of showing.
There you go. Okay.
And there's a pretty significant difference between the Orange Bowl and then some of the other bowls right behind it.
Yeah.
I think that shows the power of the of Tennessee and in particular Tennessee, but also Clemson.
Very good.
Yeah, I mean, I think, it's the numbers are going to be down, but 8.6 million viewers saw Tennessee's defense play its best game. They saw Joe Milton play well. They saw Squirrel White play well. There's hope for the future.
There you go. All right. When we come back, was 2022 a great season for Vol fans or a season of heartbreak? You could say both. In fact, the answer is both. But I'm not going to let anybody say both. Chuck's not here today. So we'll come back and debate great season or heartbreak. Come on back on the Sports.